Greetings everybody, this is Leviathan and I'm bringing you what looks like it might be the last update to the patch 2.6.1 PTR. Several days ago, I'm a little late on this, right now it's like early Saturday morning, there was an update to the PTR, Public Test Realm, that brought us a lot of buffs. More buffs keep coming, they just keep coming and they don't stop coming. You know, to quote an awesome song there. But this is really looking like the end. We also have a blue post that I'll tack on after I give you a little bit of the update. And then also a hotfix that just went live a couple of hours ago, which is kind of what spurred me to get this information out to you guys as quickly as I could with my schedule. So in any case, let's jump right in. They are still alerting us that support for Vista and Windows XP will be ending at some point during PTR. More info, there's a forum post, so again, if you are on an old operating system, definitely upgrade. So a couple of things that they've done with this particular PTR patch. If you guys recall, there was a time where like spawning tons of health globes was very much a part of the 4-player meta, and they really curbed it. Like the Selenium got adjustments, all the skills, there was the hopeful cry for Crusaders that would spawn a bunch of health globes as a rune on Laws of Hope, I believe. And so they kind of just took all those and really brought the health globe generation down. But of course, the Necromancer came in, and then Life from Death was a passive that, or is a passive, I should say, that generates a ton of health globes. And so in this PTR patch, they're addressing, kind of putting a limit on that again, because it is a prevalent part of, like, you know, the speed Rathma 4-player stuff that we see right now. So you can still make health globes, just maybe not as many as you used to. So ground stomp, jarring slam got a change where they added a maximum threshold on the number of health globes that can spawn in a given time. I've heard from people testing and talking on Reddit and such that it's maybe like cut in half or so. Like you still get a decent amount of health globes, but it's not overwhelming. It's not as crazy as it used to be. And then again, the same adjustment here for Life from Death, the Necromancer passive. So, you know, obviously the Necromancers need it on just their solo because they have skills and things that make them spend their life. So they need reliable ways to get health back, but obviously you can't kill it off. So this is kind of the compromise, I suppose. And we will see the overarching effect of this at some point. Because it does play into the current meta, the speed GR meta anyway. More buffs, like I mentioned, Witch Doctor passive, Creeping Death. This maximum now goes up to 16,800 seconds for increasing the duration of basically your dot spells, Haunt, Locust Swarm, etc. And that's targeting the Jade setup, so Jade is just getting more powerful here. Wizard skills, Arcane Orb, Frozen Orb. This is another skill that's really buffed up in this PTR. Looking really good with Delcyr's Magnum Opus. And they keep toying with this projectile travel distance. I always say I'm not the best wizard, the sharpest wizard in the shed, if you will. So I'm not exactly sure what this does when they change or, you know, up or down the maximum travel distance here, but it's now from 30 to 40. So I don't know. We'll have to see what that does for the wizards. Then they fixed a couple of issues here. There was an issue with bone armor dislocation, not applying movement and attack speed reduction provided by Rigor Mortis. They fixed an issue where monk players could reset blood as power cooldown for necros, allowing them to gain more cooldown reduction than intended. Sounds like a good fix there. And then last but not least, fixed an issue where Creeping Death was not correctly affecting the duration of the Piranha's damage debuff. So there you go. A couple of good quality of life changes there, and then definitely something that plays into you know, the Necro being as powerful as it is, not getting that cooldown reset ridiculously. Some very awesome changes personally, because you know me, I love my Condemn, I love Crusader. Blade of Prophecy, the multiplier that they applied on this PTR just got way better. It now ranges from 600 to 800%, and that used to be 350 to 450, so that's major. You can understand the ramifications of having, you know, a way bigger multiplier here. And they gave the same treatment to Frighter's Wrath. Frighter's Wrath used to go from 450 to 600, and now it goes from 600 to 800 as well. So both of these items multiplying your condemned damage is just sending it through the roof. I actually already have tested this a little bit, and I was able to do a greater of 100 on hardcore, like pretty darn easily. I will say that there is still the issue of feeling quite squishy. So you're going to have to find ways to mitigate the damage, because it doesn't look like they're giving Crusaders any more damage reduction for condemned setups. So that's a bit unfortunate, but I mean the power is definitely there. So if you can find the way to reduce the damage, then you'll be on your way with Condemn for sure. One of the things that kind of has a lot of the community upset, though, especially Crusader mains, is that Gerfalcon's Foot and Jecking Board got a bit of a debuff. That means that their multipliers are going down. For Gerfalcon's Foot, used to be 400 to 500, now it's 275 to 350. And then for Jecking Board, used to be 300 to 400, and now that's 225 to 300%. This was by far performing the best of, if like, definitely for Crusaders, and if not across the board for a lot of the GR increases, or a lot of the builds that were looking good for GRs on like all classes. So it was definitely ahead of the pack. This should bring it back down. I think people are overreacting to this one a little bit. It should bring it within the realm of reality and actually help keep diversity going for Crusaders and make all the specs fun and competitive with one another. So Blessed Hammer and stuff, you know, won't be completely just toppled. I think we'll see a lot of competition for the top setup, especially when we look at some of the other changes for Crusaders too. But in any case, let's keep moving. Demon Hunter, Deadman's Legacy, its multiplier got moved up a little bit. Used to be 125 to 150, now we're up to 150 to 200%. And they did the same treatment to the Yang's recurve, used to be 125 to 150, and now that's also 150 to 200%. So your multi-shot next season, or next patch, is going to be ridiculous. Well, as soon as you get it, it doesn't even need to be ancient. You're going to be destroying stuff in, you know, your high torments. And then, of course, just as the gear gets better, as you get more stuff for your UE setup, and there's even another change for UE as well with more damage, you're going to be destroying Greater Rift. So I think multi-shot will definitely be a pushing build next season. I'm not exactly sure where we'll rank among all the other sets that Demon Hunters have, because they all got buffed up, but we'll definitely have to see, because a lot of people love multi-shots. So that's always a nice change. Let's keep moving along. Got to find those changes in red. Wizard got a few changes. Death Wish, while channeling Arcane Torrent, Disintegrate, or Ray of Frost, all damage is increased by 250 to 325%. So that's a massive increase. Channeling skills getting some love. And then, of course, the other side of it, your Etched Sigil, your offhand. While channeling Arcane Torrent, Disintegrate, or Ray of Frost, the damage of your Arcane Power Spenders is increased by 125 to 150, and you also cast one of your other damaging Arcane Power Spenders every second. So that's pretty powerful as well. This is looking like maybe channeling builds are going to come back. They're definitely trying to give Wizards more than Archon builds. They want you to be able to do stuff outside of just having Archon all the time, and I think that's been a major complaint among the Wizard community for quite some time. So hey, here's your diversity. The Halo of Carini is an item that they've been trying to make more usable, more accessible. They increased previously the damage reduction 60 to 80%, and now this is extended for the duration up to 5 seconds. And this is for when your Storm Armor electrocutes an enemy that's more than 15 yards away. So like everything to make this item work better, better damage reduction, lower radius, and longer duration. So they're really trying to give you another option for damage reduction on your Wizard. Nilfur's Boast, increase the damage of Meteor by 600%, up from 200. When your Meteor hits 3 or fewer enemies, the damage is increased, oh my goodness, by 675 to 900%. When it used to be 275 to 350. So massive buff to Meteor. I think I saw someone messing around with it and posted a video of like Greater Rift 110 plus or so, and they're not even sure if this is like the best Meteor builds. Like people are, of course, this brand new stuff, still figuring it out. So this is, I mean, Wizards, man, you guys got options. Your DMO stuff's looking good. You got this thing, which probably will be in like a Tau set or something with all the Meteors going on. Grand Vizier got a change as well, reduce the arcane power cost of Meteor by 50% and increase its damage by 375 to 500%. That's up from 30%. So another massive buff for Meteor damage. I imagine this would probably be like cubed or something. Maybe even put those two things together, right? Like have Meteor on your bar, have like the channeling skills, and then with the Etched Sigil, it's just going to cast your Meteor. And those are all free. I don't know, it could be crazy. That's just me thinking off the top, and I'm sure there's Wizards out there who are like, you're crazy, it's going to work better this way. So I'm excited to see what they do with it for sure. Next, we're on to the set changes. Like I mentioned, there are quite a few here that are impacting kind of the micro or macro, I don't know, whatever the GR top clears will be for each class. Like these sets will obviously have a lot of effect on that. And it's unclear because a lot of them got buffed. IK set 6-piece bonus is going up to 1500% increased damage. So that was doubled up from 750, which was a change earlier in this PTR. So that's pretty big. You know, all of your Hoda builds, your Seismic Slam, anything you're building out of IK would work really nicely with this. And then there also are implications, you know, with IK being mixed with other sets. It still is a possibility, but just having that 6-piece bonus be so tasty, maybe this will make more people just roll the full set. Might of the Earth, massive buff to the 6-piece set bonus, going up to 5,600% increase for your Earthquake, Avalanche, Leap, Ground Stomp, Ancient Spirit, and Seismic Slam. Again, I mentioned there were some changes to Seismic Slam items like Fury of the Vanished Peak. There's a belt, there's the bracers. I can't remember all of the names specifically, but yeah, so I mean, you might see more Seismic Slam. I think there's the Seismic Slam Earthquake, the Girdle of Giants thing. So that's crazy. That's a big buff. And then, of course, Legacy of Raykor, 4-piece set bonus, got a nice improvement, going up to 1,000% increased damage for your Furious Charge. And the 6-piece set bonus, every use of Furious Charge increases the damage of your next Fury spending attack by 2,800%. And you can stack this up to 5 times. So that's big, 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 big. So Raykor is looking really good. And of course, that's the thing. They have to make these 6-piece set bonuses tasty enough so that you want to equip the full set rather than trying to mix it with IK and such. And then Wrath of the Waste, the 6-piece set bonus, got a nice improvement here, going up doubled from 1,700% for the increase to your whirlwind damage to 3,400%. And Wrath of the Waste was already the setup that Barbs were pushing their Greater Rifts with. So I don't know if this puts Whirlwind right back on top again, or, you know, with those crazy numbers I just read off to you on the other sets, if they'll also compete too. But Barbs have a lot to be happy about here because their class was a bit behind when it came to just pushing high-level Greater Rifts. And I think they mentioned in like a hotfix, but here it is officially in the notes, that Whirlwind and 3 seconds after you're whirlwinding, so while you're whirlwinding and for 3 seconds after, you get the damage reduction, the 50% damage reduction on the 4-piece. Onto Crusaders. This was something I forgot to mention while talking about the Blessed Shield debuffs to the Gerfalcon's Foot injecting board. They actually increased the Armor of a Khan 6-piece set bonus from 900% to 1,000%. So it kind of offsets, and that's why I'm saying I'm not that convinced that Blessed Shield will be in such a bad spot, because this will definitely offset losing a bit of that damage on those items. But again, you're getting more power out of the set. And of course, this helps any of the other builds that come out of the set, such as Condemn, Holy Shotgun, or even just your standard Heaven's Fury setups. And then maybe someday if Fist of the Heavens and Phalanx and such get updates, then they too will benefit from the Akon set being stronger. So that's awesome. Roland's Legacy, they increased the damage bonus on the 4-piece set for Shield Bash and Sweep Attack up to 3,300%. And this combined with the change to the Golden Flints and also the Denial makes Roland makes Roland really strong. I think Sweep Attack builds are already doing pretty darn well, and they should definitely push them up there too. So you're going to have a competitive Roland set, which is crazy. I know a lot of people aren't like a fan of the mechanics of it and stuff, but hey, it looks powerful. And then Thorns of the Invoker got some big buffs as well. The 2-piece set bonus. Your Thorns damage hits all enemies in 15-yard radius around you, and each time you hit an enemy with punish, slash, or block an attack, your Thorns is increased. And this number has gone all over the place, but now it's by 140% for 2 seconds. And that's doubled from what it previously was, and higher than it ever has been on PTR. So that's really strong. You want that multiplier applied as much as you possibly can. And then the 6-piece set bonus just went through the roof. This is for your single target attacking. Your attack speed of punish and slash are increased by 50% and deal 5,400% of your Thorns damage to the first enemy hit. So you will melt. I mean, this build has always been about seeking and destroying the elites in the Rift, but you're going to melt anything that you're hitting first. So obviously, you know, in your yellow packs, you're hitting that yellow. With the blues, you're just, you know, knocking them all down. It's going to be absolutely ridiculous. And I think I've already seen Crusaders trying this set out in particular on PTR and doing, you know, 105 plus. I think hopefully I'm not imagining, but there were like some 110s with Invoker. So this made this very competitive. Demon Hunter Marauders getting some love again. Embodiment of the Marauder. Sentries deal 400% increased damage, and cast your elemental arrow, chakram, impale, multi-shot, and cluster arrow when you do. That's the 4-piece set bonus, so it's actually been reverted. It was bumped down during PTR and then going back up to 400%. And I think now that because they fixed interactions with Nats, the Natalia 6-piece, and Marauders, they're probably okay with bringing Sentries back into the mix here with 4-piece set. And the 6-piece set bonus also got a buff as well, just a slight one. Primary skills, elemental arrow, chakram, impale, multi-shot, cluster arrow, companions, and vengeance deal 2500% increased damage for every active sentry. So that's a nice multiplier there, especially since you can get many sentries out. I think this one's being pegged for top 2 as far as the Demon Hunter clearing will go in Greater Rifts, although I think we'll have something to say about that in just a moment. But yeah, so Marauders looking very strong. It always was with cluster arrow grenades and stuff like that, and the Manticore did get a boost in this PTR patch, or not this particular patch, but earlier in this PTR. So expect to see Marauders performing well. The Nats Vengeance 6-piece set bonus, yeah, you know about this, 2500% increased damage. Pretty crazy. Unhallowed Essence 6-piece set bonus. This one got an increase as well too. So again, now your UE grenades is better, your multi-shot is even better. So this is going to look really good. Generators, multi-shot, and vengeance deal 100% increased damage for every point of discipline you have, and that's up from the 70% it used to be. And that was an increase this current PTR. So yeah, we're going to be getting massive, massive damage out of UE. You'll be speed farming so easily in this set. I'm really excited for Demon Hunters with this. Monk, get a little bit of love in his mantra, 6-piece set bonus. Gain 5 ruined mystic allies at all times, and your damage is increased by 150% for each mystic ally you have out. I was told that you can have up to 10 mystic allies, so you know, a nice little multiplier there. And it was, I think, was already doing pretty well with like exploding palms stuff and generator and whatnot. So there you go. Let's see, Raiment got a change here. Raiment of 1,000 Storms, your 6-piece set bonus. Spirit generators increase the weapon damage of dashing strike to 13,000%. For 6 seconds, and then Dashing Strike increases the damage of your Spirit Generators by 1300% for 6 seconds. So slight buffs here. You know, Raiment was always performing for the last several seasons for monks as their highest Greater Rift clearing set. So there was also changes to the Shenlong set that improved that in this PTR. So I mean, your generator stuff with Raiment will still be good, but I think people are really excited about Uliana's, which I'll talk about in just a second, and also Sun Wukong, just because those both got very, very buffed this patch and are seeming to potentially be at the top of the dog pile. Uliana's, like I was saying, this 777% is still there. I love that number for the 4-piece set bonus. And then the 6-piece set bonus, increase the damage of your exploding palms by 2100%, and your 7-sided strike detonates your exploding palms. So that got a nice increase there, continuing to make Uliana's set very strong. So again, like I said, you know, it's going to be competitive. There's a lot going on for monks, and I think you'll probably see a lot of monks, I believe, in Season 12, just because no matter what, they're going to be a staple in 4-player meta with support. I have to believe that. And then all their sets that they have are going to be pushing pretty nicely. So liking what I see there. Necromancer, Bones of Rathma. So the Necro is kind of crazy. We didn't think there would be too many changes for them, since they were kind of the impetus for all these, you know, boosting everyone else up to kind of match them and the wizard. But I guess they're just buffing some of the other playstyles that aren't Traghouls, essentially. Bones of Rathma, 6-piece set bonus. Each active skeletal mage increases the damage of your minions and Army of the Dead by 1,000. So that's a really nice boost. Very, very nice. Grace of Venarius, 6-piece set bonus. Bone Armor also activates a swirling tornado of bone, damaging nearby enemies for 1000% weapon damage and increasing the damage they take from the Necro by 3,750%. So really nice buffs there as well too. And this was the set that people are using for the boss killer with the Command Skeleton, the Bone Ringer, just stacking up all those stacks. And like we mentioned in probably the first PTR video that we covered, the Command Skeletons are going to act as normal pets now, so they'll have actual damage reduction. Your Enforcer will keep them alive, etc. So they'll actually be able to stick around to stack up those Bone Ringer stacks, those... well, I'm not going to say that they stack Stricken because I'm unclear if they do or not. But no matter what, this like solidifies this as the boss killer. They'll be melting bosses with this. Pretty crazy. Pestilence Master Shroud set. This was one we already knew they were going to target, and they had previously boosted it up to make it a little bit better. But now it's getting even more love. 6-piece set bonus. Each corpse you consume grants you an empowered bone spear. Charge that increases the damage of your next bone spear by 4,000%, and in addition, corpse lance and corpse explosion damage is increased by now 2,000%. And I'm not really sure anyone's sold on the bone spear stuff. I haven't really seen many people using it, but the corpse lance and corpse explosion, of course, are, you know, crowd favorites. So that's going to be a lot of what you see out of Pestilence Master Shroud, and I think probably really good speeds for Necromancers with this one. It kind of is becoming their speed farming set. Alright, moving right along. Oh man, I forgot about this. The Witch Doctor Helltooth Harness 6-piece set bonus got massively buffed. So after casting Wall of Death, you gain 5,100% increased damage for 15 seconds to primary skills, Acid Cloud, Fire Bats, Zombie Charger, Zombie Dogs, Gargantuan, Grasp of the Dead, Piranhas, and Wall of Death. That's 3 times what it used to be to the previous buff here on the PTR. So that's crazy. That's going to bring Helltooth right back into the mix. It hasn't really been popular for a few seasons for WDs, you know, between Lawn, Spirit Barrage, and Zuni's even taking a little bit of the lead, and of course Arakir, Fire Bats. But now, man, Helltooth, no joke. That should definitely boost its popularity by quite a bit. Of course, Jade got massive buffs, looking really good, and it continues actually. The 2-piece set bonus. When Haunt lands on an enemy already affected by Haunt, it instantly deals 560 seconds worth of Haunt damage, so that's a little increase in seconds there. And then 6-piece set bonus, Soul Harvest reduces damage taken by 50% for 12 seconds. Everyone that's a Witch Doctor loves this, because that was the biggest complaint with Jade, was it was very squishy. And it consumes your damage over time effects on enemies, instantly dealing now 1,400 seconds worth of remaining damage, so another buff there. And of course, remember, like, Creeping Death got buffed in this particular patch as well. So just all the Jade stuff, all the dot stuff, it's going to be massive, really good. Spirit of Arakir 6-piece set bonus. Damage of your creature skills is increased by 4,500%. Creature skills are Corpse Spiders, Plague of Toads, Fire Bats, Locust Swarm, Hex, and Piranhas. So a big buff to the 6-piece set bonus there. Continuing to keep Arakir in the mix. You know, we'll have to definitely see where Witch Doctors fall, because they were the de facto trash clearer in the 4-player meta, with first Arakir and then of course Lawn, Spirit Barrage. Arakir got a bunch of buffs, and so did the Fire Bats stuff in general. I mean, Helltooth now buffed as well, so who knows exactly what we'll see. But the biggest complaints, of course, with Arakir and Helltooth in particular, that they're both quite laggy, and then you mix area damage in there as well. And we'll have to see kind of what players will accept for the amount of power put out. Zunimasa's 6-piece set bonus, not to be forgotten, also got a nice buff. Enemies hit by your mana spenders take 5,500% increased damage from your pets for 8 seconds. That's pretty massive too. That's going to continue to keep Zunimasas in the conversation. Like I said, just the idea here is competition amongst your whole class, not just having one set be the thing to go to. Even though at some point someone will find like the 1% or 2% better of all of this, and that will be kind of what rules the top of the leaderboards. But they're all getting much more competitive than they used to be, without a doubt. On to the Wizard. Delcer's Magnum Opus 6-piece set bonus got a nice increase to its multiplier there. Enemies affected by your slow time and for 5 seconds after exiting take 4,100% increased damage from Arcane Orb, Energy Twister, Explosive Blast, Magic Missile, Shock Pulse, Spectral Blade, and Wave of Force. So again, continuing to increase the DMO dream, and there were so many items and things that synergize with DMO that were increased this PTR. It's been one of the best performing GR destroyers that people have been testing on PTR for Wizards, so this just continues to push that in a positive direction. Firebird's Finery 6-piece set bonus, can't forget about Firebird. Also getting an increase here, damage is increased by 250% on the 6-piece set bonus, and that's the main change here, so just getting a little bit more damage out of your Firebirds. Maybe that'll bring it back into relevance. It was kind of the best for a while for Wizards, I think like a season or two, and then of course we just went pure Archon once the Monald Heal thing came out, and now who knows where it's gonna go. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the sets There's a PTR only fix where they fix an issue where damage over time effects left on the ground by meteor was not being increased by a legacy version of No First Boast. So okay, nice change, I suppose. And then a couple of last but not least changes for challenge rifts. Those of you who are into those, you know I am. They increased the amount of materials that challenge rift caches drop, and they also added 10 death's breaths to the challenge rift cache. That still is particularly low, you know, for a regular like T13 rift. I'm pretty sure you're getting like 20 dBs on average or something, and that's without like Sage and all this stuff that we'll be able to do in the coming season with the incredible power that we'll have from our sets and stuff. So I feel like they could probably still be even more generous with this. I don't know how much the increase here is on PTR right now. Last I checked, there was no available challenge rift to do, so we couldn't actually earn a cache to see what the new rewards are. But I say go more profitable, go more rewarding with this, please. And then this is the true last but not least, monsters. They fixed a champion spawn rate issue for certain monsters required for the We Are the Champions achievement. And then the following monsters were adjusted, and they should spawn with the same frequency as other champ packs: Fallen Conjurers, Fallen Peons, Fallen Curs, Fallen Grunts, Fallen Overlords, and Fallen Slave Lords. So for those who are chasing that achievement, it will be a little bit easier for you next patch. This is not the end though. That's the end of all the PTR patch updates, which is obviously massive, obviously great. But what really gets interesting is this Developer Chronicle blog that came out essentially simultaneous with this PTR patch update, basically saying that this is it. They're now getting into the part of PTR where they're not going to make too many more sweeping changes. Of course, if something egregious or like really bad pops up that needs to be hot fixed, they will definitely do so. But you know, for balance changes and such, they're kind of there. They hit it, and now they want to work on fixing bugs and stuff. So that's the main gist of the second half of this article. The first half is more just talking about kind of the goals of this PTR and this patch in particular, why they did what they did, and essentially it was just for balance. Don Vu was the person who authored this as the game designer, returning to the Diablo 3 team. Like I mentioned, he was on Legion for a while. Really awesome guy, very passionate about the game. Really happy to have him back on our side, back on the Diablo team. And he's mentioning essentially that, you know, two main goals. They wanted each class to have multiple builds with different styles that can play in similar difficulties. Agree that it's important that there's a lot of variety in endgame experience, and because there's so many difficulties, they want as many players as possible to reach similar goals regardless of their preferred class set or playstyle. So that's why you're seeing, you know, all these different sets get increases, so that if you love playing sentries, if you love playing multi-shot, if you love nats, you can be able to do them all and not feel bad about it, versus like, you know, I should just be doing Fan of Knives lawn because it's the best. Maybe now you actually have a little bit more diversity. And then the second side of this was they wanted to smooth out overall endgame experience, and this is more referring to kind of like high density situations, group play, where you're incurring a lot of server lag and such. So changes like limitless hammers for the hammered ins / blessed hammer, seeker of the light crusaders, changes with bloodshed, the battle rage rune, which was causing some performance issues for barbarians. So they kind of, you know, addressed that as well in this PTR cycle for this patch. So those were the steps they took to the goals. They had a lot of builds that were kind of classic, iconic builds. Exploding Palm, Whirlwind, Frozen Orb. They wanted to make sure they really made those good. So that's why you saw so much concentration on like Uliana's, DMO, Wrath of the Wastes. Keep those crowd favorites looking good. And raising some of the other legacy builds as well too, like Condemn of course comes to mind. They kept their ear close to the ground, were visiting the different class forums, watching videos, streams, analyzing their internal data, and doing some play tests to identify places where the further tweaks made sense. And that's kind of how they continue to get this. So there was a big part of this blog that's about like appreciation for all the feedback that we, the community, threw into this. I think that's important, A, to be recognized for, because, you know, I'm putting out this content, you guys are commenting, everybody's having an opinion and voicing it, and you're being heard. And I think that was one of the biggest things we noticed right away with the second PTR patch, was like, hey, those were all, wait, that was a suggestion, wait, I saw that in Reddit, and they were just implementing it, like saying, hey, let's give it a try. So it's really great to see kind of that feedback and constant communication, and, you know, things getting better between the community and the Diablo team. So that's really good. And here's just kind of a bigger section on them incorporating the player feedback. You know, that's why the Barbs got that damage reduction for after you stop whirlwinding, and also like Band of Might got an increase in damage reduction. Wizards, the Hail of Carini, they're trying to make that better for them to use, and also non-Archon builds. Necros, Dainty's Binding, they gave a little bit more leniency, so it wasn't tied just to Decrepify, just to help them out. Witch Doctors, Jade Harvester, of course, saw a lot of attention, and that was kind of a crowd favorite, one that people wanted to work very well. And Demon Hunters, Monks, Crusaders, they get like a nice honorable mention here, talking about multi-shot, Exploding Palm, Blessed Shield. So that's pretty much it. And then here's the next part where he was saying what's next for the PTR. And like I mentioned, you know, what we see is pretty much going to stick. Now they're just working on fine-tuning, getting some bugs, making sure that everything is ready to go for when they launch this patch. So I have to believe that, A, the patch is going to be here in probably a month or so, I would guess. You know, they're going to take a few weeks to get those bugs and kinks worked out, end the season, because we're now into week 9 of season 11. So you can imagine it's probably like, you know, 3.5-ish weeks left to this one, and then the patch will come sometime after that. So get in there and test if you want an idea of what the future is going to be like, because the numbers that you see are probably going to be the numbers you get when it goes up, which is crazy to think. Just crazy. I can't believe it. So many viable options and fun builds coming back. But last but not least, speaking of fun and viable and crowd favorites, my personal favorite, Shadow's Impale, which I've been playing for like 5 months straight now, just got a hotfix. You can see this is about posted 8 hours ago. Right now it's like almost 3 in the morning here on the East Coast. So it was Friday evening that they went and threw this in there. They said, hey, or Don Vu says, hey everyone, we just applied a hotfix PTR servers, increasing the impale damage bonus on Carlay's Point to 375 to 500%. Previously, by the way, this was 60 to 80%. And increase the impale weapon damage bonus on the Shadow's Mantle 6-piece set to 50,000. And previously that was 40,000. Holy crap, man, that's huge. That is absolutely ginormous. And that was kind of what made me want to hop on here and talk a little bit, because I just did a Greater Rift 105 on my Demon Hunter on hardcore, no problem. And I think it was like a sub 10-minute clear, or right around 10 minutes. Like, it's crazy, super powerful. I mean, I have really good Shadow gear. I feel like I am a very good Shadows player just because I've been doing it for so long now. But yeah, this spec will certainly compete once again. It was kind of being left behind a little bit, which was the complaint in this particular forum post. But that's what you see. That's what you see. Although there is the caveat here, of course, please remember that these numbers, like all numbers on PTR, are not final and may change before we release this patch to the live servers. Tooltips won't be updated and such, so even if you're trying to test this yourself, you won't see the reflected numbers on your gear and whatnot, but it is updated. I just tried it. It's definitely updated. So yeah, that's it pretty much for our PTR updates. I don't think we'll be seeing too many more of these massive patch notes, blogs, etc. We're going to go into a bit of a quiet time. We'll get at some point in the future here the end of the season notification, that 2-week warning, and then in that post they usually give us the start of season 12, so I'll report back to you with all the news on that, anything else that pops up, maybe some exciting BlizzCon news if it comes around. They did release the virtual ticket. That's $39.99 if you guys want that, and there's some other cool stuff you can get along with it. Virtual ticket is boosted this year. So yeah, lots of exciting stuff from Blizzard and Diablo in general. I'm looking very forward to patch 2.6.1. I hope you are too. Hop into the comments and let me know what you're excited about, because I want to hear from you. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. I might just have to go Demon Hunter again, guys. I don't know. Demon Hunter or Crusader? I don't know what to do. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.